Hi everyone, welcome to this class. In this class, let's see about static initialization blocks. So as part of this course, we will see what is meant by SIB. SIB is nothing but static initialization block, or it is called as static block. And why we need static blocks, what is the purpose of static blocks, and what are the characteristics or properties of static blocks. Static blocks, this is one of the important topic in core Java. Many people, they feel, quite tough to understand this topic. It's quite very easy topic. We already seen that, some of the topics in the previous class. The previous classes, we have seen that static global variables. We seen that static global variables are, it is global variable across the class, correct? Only one copy is maintained across the class. So static initialization block, the main purpose is it is used to initialize static global variables. Static blocks, or you can call it as any name, static blocks, or static initialization block. The name itself says, right, it is a block, correct? Block means block can have group of statements, correct? It is a block. That block is a static blocks, correct? And it is used for initialization purpose. Static initialization blocks are used to initialize static global variables, correct? This is the main very foremost important about SIB. I can call it as SIB or static blocks or static initialization blocks. All are same. The main purpose is it is mainly used to initialize static global variables. And static blocks, it is loaded into the memory. Whenever we are running particular class, right, that class is loading into the memory, correct? We already seen that when class is loaded into memory, all the static variables methods are loaded into memory, and along with that, what happens, static blocks also loaded into memory. So static blocks are executed only once. Suppose consider in your class you are having one static block. It is executed only once, not more than once. Okay. And class can have multiple static blocks. Inside one class, you can keep more than one static blocks. Correct. And another important point is static blocks are executed from top to bottom. Static blocks are executed from top to bottom, but condition is only one time. Okay, we will see all these points in our program. So let's open our notepad plus plus. Here what I am doing is I'm going with one new class. Consider I'm creating one class called Ashrita. This is my class, correct? We already seen one of the method, that is main method, public static void main. This takes single argument, string array, correct? We already seen this method, correct? I am printing something. This is a main method, correct? Same way like this, I am having one static block. How to declare a static block? It's very simple. How we are declaring a method? How we are declaring a static method? By using static keyword, right? Here main is a method. This is a static method. So I need to declare something like this. Access modifier, static keyword, return type, then method name, then arguments. This is how we are declaring a static method. What about static block? Static block can be declared very easy only by using static keyword. That's all. This is how you can declare a static block. This is called static initialization block, or static block, or SIB. Correct. This is how you can declare a static initialization block. Inside static block, you can keep any number of statements. Inside static blocks, you can keep any number of statements. Here again I am keeping some statement. I am mentioning like this is a static block. This is a static block, or I can say this is a static initialization block. We are getting right. This is a static initialization block. Okay. See, it's very simple. Declaring a static block is very simple. So you need to mention with static keyword, then open parenthesis and close parenthesis. Wherever you are seeing static keyword, this does not have any method. Correct? This does not have any name. Static block does not have any name. That is also one of the point. If you want, you can note down. Static block does not have any name. Correct. So inside static block, you can keep any number of statements. Let's save this class. I'm storing inside programs directory class name dot Java. Once we saved, so here open the command prompt cmd. Correct. Here you open the command prompt. Once we are saving it, what happens? We can compile it. How to compile it? It's very simple. We already know javac file name.java. Correct. Javac class name.java. Compilation is success. You see dot class file is created. Compilation is success. We are seeing dot class file is created. How to run? Java file name. Java class name, right? You see the output. What you are getting? This is a static initialization block. We have defined one static block. That same output we are getting. This is a static initialization block. First static blocks are executed first. Correct. First static blocks are executed from top to bottom. Static blocks are executed from top to bottom. First static blocks are executed. Then main method is executed. Correct. As part of the output, what we are getting? We are getting output from the static block first, then main method. What happens? We have seen it. Static blocks are executed when class is loaded into memory, correct? If I go through the order, whenever I am running this Ashita, this is the class name. Whenever I am running this class, the class will be loaded into stack memory. First class loading is happening. Class loaded into memory. When class is loaded into memory, all the static global variables are also loaded into memory. Correct. Second point. Then when static global variables are loaded into memory, those are initialized with the default values. Once static global variables are initialized with the default values, then initialization is happening for static variables from top to bottom. Correct. Once it is initialized, we seen, main method will be called. Main method, JVM calls main method, then main method started executing. So where static blocks comes into picture? Before JVM calls main method, JVM looks, is there any static blocks are available? Is there any static blocks are defined inside the class? If there is any static blocks, before calling main method, it should execute static blocks. Correct? It should execute static blocks. Static blocks executed before main method. So first it will see inside class, is there any static block? Yes, only one static block. JVM will execute this static block, then it will run it. So let's keep some more statements. Even you can keep any statements, correct, any number of statements. Okay, I'm just mentioning this is SIB, correct. I can say this is a SIB. SIBs are used to initialize static variables, correct. I'm just printing some more things. More than one statement also you can print it, correct. Let's recompile the program. Java C file name.java, then Java file name. See, we are getting 2 lines from static block. One static blocks, correct. Once it is executed, then JVM calls main method. See here, go through the program. Static blocks are used to initialize global variables. And second point is static blocks are executed when class is loaded into memory. And here SIBs, that is static initialization blocks, are executed only once. See here, it is executed only once, right? Once executed, then main method is executing. Only once only static blocks will be executed. Let's go with one more program. And one more point is static block can be, if you need it, we can note down these points, correct. What is the point we are seeing? Already some of the points are there in the slide. Whatever points are not there, we are mentioning in the note section. Okay, I can say static blocks are SIB. Static blocks can be placed anywhere in the class, correct. Static blocks can be available anywhere in the class. What it means? Either it can be top or bottom, anywhere. Okay, let's remove this line. Again, I am saving this class. Let's rerun it. If you need, you can mention some other way. I am just mentioning SIB. Okay, static initialization block. Save this class and rerun this. Recompile it. Compilation is success. Then run it. See, you are getting first SIB. First static block is initialized. Static block is executed. Then main method is executing. It can be anywhere. Static block can be placed anywhere. But the thumb rule is mainly, it is better to keep it top. Okay, that is the industry standard. Static blocks can be kept at the top. Before any methods, you can keep the static blocks. Okay, let's go with one more program. I'm going with one more class. Okay, let's go with public static void main. What I'm doing, I'm keeping on static block, correct. This is how you can declare a static block. I'm just keeping system.out.println. Okay, this is the statement I am trying to keep inside static block. Consider I am keeping this is static block 1. Okay, what I am doing, I am creating one more static block. Static, again I am keeping. To identify the order of execution, I am just printing some statement. To identify the order of execution, I am just printing some statement, correct. This is main method. See here I kept 2 static blocks, correct, and only one main method. What happens when we are running this class? This class Lavanya is loaded into memory. When class is loaded into memory, all the static variables. There is no static variables, nothing will happen. So then it will check, is there any static blocks? Yes, there are two static blocks. Two static blocks will be loaded into memory. When these two static blocks are loaded into memory, correct, it will be executed from top to bottom. First it will execute first static block. Here you are printing something, you will be getting output. Then it will execute the second static block. It will be, printing the second static block. Then once all the static blocks are executed, then it will call, JVM will call main method. Main method will be executed. Let's save this class. Class name dot java, correct. Once you saved, we can compile it. Java C, class name dot java, compilation is success. Let's run java class name. See here, first what output we are getting? We are getting output as static block 1. First it is executed, first static block, top to bottom, right? But only once. The condition is static blocks will be executed only once, but top to bottom. Here we are getting static block 1. Once it executes static block 1, then it checks, yes, one more static block. Again it is executing second static block. Once all the static blocks are executed, then main method will be called. We are getting main method output, correct. This is very easy. Even you can keep anywhere. Consider I am keeping one more static block here. Listen guys, I am keeping one more static block here. Static, what I am doing is I am printing some statement. This is my TAD static block, SIB 3, this static block 3, correct. I am just, overall how many static blocks I have in this class? I have 3 static blocks, right? 2 are defined in the top, 1 is defined at the bottom, correct. So let's run, understand the output, recompile the program. Rerun the program. See the output. First it checked overall how many static blocks are there. Overall 3 static blocks. 2 are defined at the top, 1 is defined at the bottom. Then totally 3 static blocks. From top to bottom it is executing. First static block it is executing, you are getting output. Then second static block, output. Then it checks, is there any other static block? Yes, it is there. That static block, then we are getting the output. Once all the static blocks are executed, then we are printing the, we are seeing the output from the main method, correct. So what we are trying to understand here is static blocks can be placed anywhere in the class. This is, we just experimented 2 programs to understand, what is the order of execution. Okay, when static block can be executed, we have seen these points, right? We have seen second, third, fourth, fifth, all 4 points we have seen. Static blocks are executed when class is loaded into memory, and static blocks are executed only once. Whatever programs we have seen, we are seeing only once only, right? Output we are seeing only once. And class can have multiple static blocks. Here if you see, this class Lavanya has overall 3 static blocks. Class can have more than 1 static blocks. And what is the 5th point we have seen? Static blocks are executed from top to bottom, correct. Static blocks are executed from top to bottom. Now let's see one meaningful program. Okay, let me go with one more class. Okay, let me name it as Priya. Class name always should go with uppercase, that is the industry standard, right? What I do is, this has one static variable. Listen this, I am having one static variables and I am having one static block, correct. I am just printing something. Okay, I'm having on main method. I'm just printing. This is my main method, correct? So here the actual usage of static block is, we have seen first point, static blocks are used to initialize static global variables. Correct. So far we have seen directly you can initialize here, right? But a good way of writing program is, the purpose of static block is it is used to initialize static global variable. What is the static global variable here? Here count is the static global variable, right? Count is the static global variable. So same static variable we are trying to initialize inside static block. We are trying to initialize static variables inside static block. In other way, static blocks, the name itself says static initialization block. What it means? What it means? Static initialization blocks. Static initialization block means it is used to initialize static variables. Correct. Static initialization blocks used to initialize static variables. It is a block, correct? Block means it can have more than one statements. Group of statements it can contain. Static initialization block, correct? SIB is a block. It is used to initialize static global variables. That's why it is named as static initialization block. The main purpose is static blocks are used to initialize static global variables. Here in our class, inside Priya, we are having only one static variables. Same we are trying to initialize. Okay. And if needed, you can print the statement also. So what you are trying to do? Here you are initializing static global variables, and what you are doing, you are trying to print count. Okay. You can print count also. Correct. Same statement you can print it here also. What I am trying to do, I just declared a variable and we have initialized inside static block. Same we are printing it. Let's save this file. Class name.java. Compile it. Java C. Class name.java. Once compilation success, run it. Java class name. See here, first what happened? When we are running this class, static variables will be loaded with the default values, right? Will be loaded with 0. Then you are reinitializing it, correct? You are reinitializing into 100. Here static blocks are used for initializing static global variable. That's what you are doing. Then we are printing, just for our understanding, we are just printing. This is a static block, correct? Then we are printing count value. Here it is initialized with 100. Once static blocks is executed, then what happens? It prints, main method comes into picture. We are printing main method, and here we are printing again count, correct? It's very easy. Suppose I want to print this statement on the top. What will happen now? What will be the output now? You are already aware that, right? We already seen that first count will be initialized with the default values. Before initializing inside static block, I am trying to access. What will be the output here? It will be default value, that is 0. Then you are initializing with 100. Again, it is a static global variable, so value will be affected. So what will happen? Let's recompile this program. We have already seen this kind of programs in the previous tutorial, right? Compilation is success. Let's run it. See here, first we are trying to print count, correct? Count is 0 because static global variables are loaded with default values. Int means it will be 0. Once it is loaded, here you are initializing inside static block. Count value you are modifying into 100. Again you are printing some statements. Then again you are printing the count. Count value is 100. Once static block is executed, then what happens? Here main method comes into picture. Then main method also executes. Correct? This is the main purpose of static block. The main purpose is it is used to initialize static variables. Correct? So we will see what other ways, what are the properties are there for static blocks. Simply I want to experiment some more things. Okay, listen, I want to experiment, we would like to experiment some more points about static block. This might not be in real time, but just to make you to understand more about static blocks, so we are modifying it. This is not the good way actually. You no need to initialize in directly. We should initialize inside static block. This is we have already seen it, but we always have the practice, we always have the approach to experiment more. Correct? That's how we can learn very in depth in each topic. That is our motto. So for that purpose only, what we are planning to do, we are planning to play with it. So even while you practice also, what you can do is you can change the values, you can reorder the values, you can reorder the method, whatever you want you can play, and you can run it, you can verify the output. Based on the output you can understand. So even we will be getting more confident on each topic. Correct? That is our purpose. So what we do is here we have declared and initialized static variable. What happens when we are running this class? First count will be loaded with 0. Once count is loaded, static global variable will be reinitialized. Correct? Static global variable will be reinitialized. So let's go with new document. What happens? Consider this is the static global variable, right? So what we are doing here, we declared one variable called count. Correct? This is the static global variable. When it loads, it loaded with 0. Correct? Then reinitialization is happening. That is, it is becoming 100. 0 will be deleted and value is becoming 100. Once static variables are loaded, then static blocks comes into picture. Static blocks are executed in the memory. So here what you do, you are just reinitializing with 200. Correct? If you want, you can print this. If you want, you can print this statement top for better understanding. So what will be the output we will be getting here? We will be getting the output count will be 100. Correct? Because it is current value is 100. Let's run this program again. See here, once reinitialize static blocks started executing, you are getting count is 100. Correct? Then we are reinitializing to 200. We are reinitializing to 200. 100 will be deleted. What we are doing, we are reinitializing with 200. Correct? We are reinitializing with 200. So then we are getting the output static block, then count output we are getting 200. Then main method started executing, we are printing some statements, then count value is again same 200 only, right? Go through this program. It's very simple. Beginning we are declaring and initializing some value, Inside static block, we are modifying it. Hence it is a static variable. If you modify anywhere, it is affected, right? Because it is unique. It is a global variable, correct? Even you can move this static global variable also anywhere. It doesn't matter, correct? While you are running this class, what happens? It will check, is there any static variable? Yes, it's there. Even compilation will be success. If you need, I can change the value. I'm making it as 500. Okay, I'm making the static variable value is 500 in the beginning. Here you need to get 500, right? It can be declared anywhere. Either it is static block or static variable or static method. It can be declared anywhere. What is the issue you are getting? So some compile time error. Okay, got it. Why here? Why it is not possible here? See here. Here we are getting some issue, right? We already seen this kind of error, illegal forward reference, correct? This is not possible actually. Why it is not possible? Because it is started executing from top to bottom. So first, either it is static block or static variables from top to bottom. First, before declaring or initializing static block, first it is started executing from here. First it is executing static block. It checks, is there a count variable? Count variable you have declared, in the below, correct? So that's why it is unable to identify this count variable. It is unable to identify this static variable. That's why it is throwing illegal forward reference. So static variables, that's what I said in the very beginning, should be always declared in the top, correct? Let's run this. Let's recompile it. Now compilation is success, correct? But if static block is not there, that's okay. If static block is not there, let's experiment this way. Okay, I'm keeping only main method, right? I'm keeping only main method. I move the static variable below. Okay, I move the static variable below. Now you just run it. Java C file name dot Java. See here, there is no compile time error now. If you run also Java file name, you will be getting the output, right? See here, you are getting the output main method, correct? Then count value is 100. If there is no static block, that's okay, you can declare anywhere static variables. But always good way of programming, industry standard is first static global variable should be declared first. Okay, that is the first step. Once, if you declare static global variables, then static block should come into picture, correct? Then all the methods. So the program order should be like this. If you keep this statement somewhere else, if static blocks comes in the first, because if you move here in the bottom, what happens here? Here it started executing from static block. It wants to, mainly we seen static blocks are used for initializing values, right? Even, if you move like this, it wants to initialize count, but count value does not know. No one declared it. On top of static block there is no count. Then it is unable to identify count variable, correct? It is unable to identify count variable. That's why we are thinking like, we are telling that all the static variables should be declared at the top level before static methods. Before static blocks, you need to declare a static variable, or else you will be getting illegal forward reference. Okay, now let me do like this. Listen, I'm just removing like this. Okay, So again it is the same statement only, right? If I run this, what I will be getting? I will be getting the error, illegal forward reference, because it tried to access count variable. Count is not there. Let's rerun this. Java C class name.java. It is not able to identify count. That's why you are getting illegal forward reference. In interviews you will be getting this kind of questions. What will be the output? A, it is 0, something like that. Then one of the option is illegal forward reference. Suppose consider I am not at all using count variable here. Consider I am using something else. Simply we are experimenting. I'm just mentioning this is a static block. Okay. What will happen here? Here compile time will be success or not? Just let's recompile it and verify it. Compilation is success. There is no error. Why? Because inside static block you are not using count variable. Correct? If at all you are using count variable, then there will be a problem, because count variable it is unable to identify. Here there is no problem, right? It's started executing the class. First it found the static block. First it is loading the static block. It is the order. Correct? It is loading the static block. It is just printing some statements, right? After that it has identified static variable. Then static variable are loaded with the default value. Count will be loaded with default value. So output will be static block main method, then count will be 0. Correct? Let's run this. See here, static block main method count. Suppose if you are using count here, for sure you will be getting compile time error, right? Because you are trying to use it. Before using it, it should be declared. Correct? Now if you rerun this program, you will get compile time error. Illegal forward reference, you'll be getting it. Correct? It's quite clear, right? Illegal forward reference, you'll be getting it. Okay, let's quickly go with another program. Let's quickly go with another program. Class shadows. Okay, this is the class. What I do, I am keeping some variable again, like count variable. Correct? Static in count. Okay, let it be count. What I do is I keep, okay, one of the method is, one of the block is static block. I'm just printing something. We are trying to understand, we are trying to experiment different ways. Okay, I'm just mentioning this is a static block 1. Okay, what I do, I'm going with one main method. Okay, after that I'm going with one more static block. Okay, static block can be placed anywhere. This is the second static block. Correct? Static block can be placed anywhere. I'm just printing this is a main method. Correct? Now consider I'm going with one more method called process method. I'm going with one more method called process method. I'm declaring here public static void process. Okay, this is my method. What I'm doing is I'm just mentioning something like this. Okay, this is my process method. Okay, overall how many methods we have? We have one static variables. We have two static methods, main method and process method, and we have two static blocks. Correct? What I am trying to do is consider static process method returns some value. Returns some value. Okay, consider it returns some value. Consider it returns 100. Okay, process method returns 100. What I am doing is I am trying to call this process method. I am trying to call the process method. Let's save this class with class name dot java. Let's compile it. Okay, java c class name dot java. Okay, so what output you are getting? It's not int, it's return, right? We need to return. I am having some compile time error. Let's recompile it. Java c. Okay, class name dot java. Let's run. Okay, java class name. Just listen very carefully. What happened? If you don't keep this method, what will be the value here? If you don't, call this method, what will be the output here? Just, you know the output, just guess it. First, it is loaded with 0, but you are not at all using count variable. First static block 1, then is there any other static method? Static block, yes. Second static block 2, then main method, correct? This is the output you will be getting, right? This is the output you will be getting, right? Let's run it. See, your output will be static block 1, static block 2, then main method, correct? Suppose if I keep like this, what will happen here? We already seen this kind of program. Always our program will be executed from top to bottom, right? First static variable here it's there, right? So first static variable will be initialized with 0. Then what happens? Reinitialization is happening from top to bottom. Listen carefully. Reinitialization is happening from top to bottom. So process method we are calling. So before static blocks comes into picture, we only call process method. We only call process method. What happens? Flow is going inside process method. We are printing this is process method. Correct. Then you are returning 100. 100 will be stored in count variable. Once static global variable is reinitialized, then next line is static block. Then static block will be executed from top to bottom. Static block 1, then one more static block 2. Then your main method will be called main method. Correct. Let's recompile this class. It's very simple. We have seen this kind of programs before also. Correct. Let's run this. See here, first output what you are getting, process method. Why process method? Because here we are trying to initialize the static global variable. This is not the good way of programming, but we are trying to experiment. So flow is going into process method and it returns 100. 100 will be stored in count variable. Then static blocks are executed. Correct. First we are getting process method 1, then static block 1. Correct. Then static block 2. Finally main method is called. Let's print all the places about count variable. Let's print all the values about count variable in all the methods. Okay, for better understanding. And we are just printing count variables value. Okay, so we are keeping inside static block here, then one more place here, correct? Then one more place in main method. It's quite forward, right? It is straightforward. First you'll be getting process. Okay, inside process method also, if you want, you can keep the count value. Correct. So first output will be process method. Correct. First count value will be loaded with 0. Count value will be loaded with 0. Correct. Count value will be loaded with 0. So what is the order? First process method will be called. Okay, let's recompile it. We will observe in output java c file name dot java, then java class name. First process method is called, correct? What is the count value? Count value will be loaded with 0. That's why here we are getting count value is 0, correct? Count value we are getting 0. Process method is returning 100. 100 will be stored in count value now, correct? Process method is returning 100. Same, it is getting stored with count variable. See here, 100 will be stored, correct? Now count value is 100. Once this is executed, static block will be executed from top to bottom. We are getting static block 1 count. What is the count value? 100. See the next output, static block 1, then count 100. First static block is executed, then one more static block. Yes, second static block also is executed. Static block to count value 100. Once all the static blocks are executed, then main method is called. Main method, then count value is 100. Let's modify again some more things. Listen carefully, I'm just modifying some more things. Simply, to make us to better understand. We already experimented this kind of programs. I'm just mentioning like count values, 200 here, correct? And what I do, I'm just mentioning some more things like, count values 300 here, correct? We are printing something, then again what I do, I'm just mentioning, count value here, 300, correct? Listen, this program very simple. Again the order is first process method will be called. Let's recompile it. Compilation is success. Let's run it. First process method will be called, right? Inside process method, what is the count? What you are getting? You are printing count value. First count will be loaded with 0, correct? We are getting count value is 0. See here, process method count value is 0. Then what happened? Once it is done, it is returning 100. It's returning 100. Count now it is modified as 100. Count value is modified as 100. Once 100 is modified, then what we are doing? First static block will be executed. Static block 1, what is the count value? Static block 1 count value is 100 because the last value count value is 100, correct? Last count value is 100. That's why we are getting static block 1 count value as 100. Then what you are doing inside static block, you are reinitializing again. You are mentioning 300. Count value is modified as 300. Only one copy. It is a static global variable. It is a global variable. If you modify anywhere, changes are affected to everyone, right? Now count value is 300. Again you are printing count value, right? Again what you are printing? Count value is 300. Now static block 1 is executed. Then second static block. Again you are printing static block 2. What is the count value? Count value is 300. That's why you are getting static block 2 count value is 300, correct? Once after that, again you are reinitializing with 200. Listen, in block 2 you are reinitializing with 200, correct? Value is become as 200. Now two static blocks are executed, then control will go to main method. You are printing main method, then what you are printing? You are printing the count value, correct? So what is the count value now? Main method count value is 200. It's very simple, right? We are trying to experiment two things. One is like the order of execution. Second one is how static global variable is getting affected. Correct, guys? How static variable is getting affected. Now I want to make it some more complex. Shall we make it some more complex? We can experiment some more things. So here what I am doing, let's initialize some other value. We initialize 300, right? Let's initialize 400. Okay, let's initialize count value into 400 here in main method. Okay, again if you want you can print the count value. Okay, what I am doing inside a static block 1, Okay, I am trying to call main method here. We already seen this kind of program. You can keep main method and you can pass the null value. Okay, if needed, even you can print the count also. That's cool. Now what will be the order? Listen carefully. First, static global variables are loaded with default value. Count will be 0. Listen carefully. It's quite interesting, right? Count value will be loaded with 0. Process method will be called. Let's recompile. Let's verify at a time. Okay, javac file name.java, then java class name. First process method will be called. Inside process method, what you are keeping? You are printing process method. Count value will be 0. Then you are assigning 100. 100 will be copied to count. Correct? You are assigning 100 to count variable now. Once 100 is copied to stored inside count, then static blocks will be executed top to bottom. First static block will be executed. Correct? What output you are getting? Static block 1. What is the count 1 value? Count 1 value is 100. See the output 1 by 1. Static, correct? Static block 1. Count value is 100. Correct? This output you are getting here. Then count value you are making 300. Count value you are modifying as 300. Now count value is 300. Correct? So again you are printing count value. What is the count value? Count value is 300. Then what you are doing next step? You are calling main method. You can call like this. Real time it is not good, but we are experimenting. So flow will be going into main method. This is we are only calling, not JVM. Who is calling this main method? Not JVM. Who is calling? We are calling the main method. Correct? Who is calling? We are calling. Flow is going into main method. See here, where the flow is going, we are getting main method. What is the count value now? Count value is 300. So you are getting main method count value as 300. Listen, main method count value as 300. After that, next time count value, again in main method we are reinitializing 400. Count value we are modifying into 400. So again you are printing. What is the count value? Count value is 400. Once main method executed, who called this main method? We only called. We only called, right? Static block 1 is called. After executing this line, again you are trying to print count value here. Listen, this count value statement you are trying to print. What is the count value now? Count value is 400. See the output, count value is 400. Once static block 1 is executed, then what happens? Static block 2 will be executed. One more static block is there. Again you are printing static block 2, correct? What is the count value? Here also you are printing count value. Count value, current value is 400. See, here you are getting two outputs. Static block 2 and count value. Static block 2 and count value is 400. Then you are reinitializing 200. Listen carefully. In static block, again you are reinitializing into 200. 400 is deleted, 200 is reinitialized. Yes, static block 2 also got executed. Two static blocks are executed successfully. Then there is no static block. Once it is done, then JVM calls main method. Now who is calling the main method? JVM calls main method. So we are getting output main method. Then what is the count value? Current count value? It is 200. Listen. Main method current count value is 200. Again inside main method you are reinitializing into 400. Correct? That's why you are getting the output like this. Correct? I hope it's very clear, right? So here we are just trying to experiment what are the ways of experimenting the static initialization block. So let's quickly go through all the points. Okay, so static blocks are used to initialize static global variables. The main purpose is it is used for initializing static global variables. Once static blocks are executed, when static blocks are executed, static blocks are executed when class is loading into memory, correct? And one more important point is static blocks are executed only once. How many times class loading is happening? Class will load only once. When we are running particular class, consider you are loading employee class will be loaded only once. When class is loaded only once, all the static blocks will be executed only once. And a class can have multiple static blocks. Class can have multiple static blocks, correct? More than one static blocks. But in real time we can have, because there is no point, for having multiple static blocks, but we'll be having only one static blocks. Simply, we want to experiment all the points. That's why, we are experimenting. So, and static blocks are executed from top to bottom. Static blocks are executed from top to bottom. And when static blocks are executed? Before main method. Before execution of main method, all the static blocks are executed only once. At last only main method called by JVM, correct? Once all the static blocks are executed, JVM calls the main method, then main method started executing. Suppose if you have any doubts in the program, you can, go through the recording again, you can pause it, you can understand the topic, then you can experiment it. Okay, thank you guys. The syllabus.